It's the interview series. The interview series. It's the interview series. The interview series. It's the interview series. The interview series.
All right, welcome to another episode of the interview series. I'm excited to talk to Alicia Soekawa, actually out of the Richmond, Virginia market, right? Further than California, way far from California,
opposite
right?
like this.
Opposite the country. So I'm excited to really find out what's going on out there in the local market. But before we get into all the real estate stuff, Alicia, I really want to get to know you and everything about you, right? Your background before real estate, why you chose real estate, and really get to know you. So give us some insight. Like who is Alicia?
So I wear many hats. First and foremost, I'm a wife and mother. My husband and I have been together 28 years this year. And we have 3 beautiful children, 6, 15, and 17, almost 18. So we have 2 bookends, a kindergartner and a senior. And I mentioned them first because I would not be anything without my family, and everything that I do, what I do is my role first and foremost. I'm first generation Korean, believe it or not. I know I don't have an accent or anything, but I was born in Korea and we immigrated here to the United States when I was a baby and got my citizenship when I was in grade school. But my husband is half Japanese. So my maiden name is Kim, which is very common in California, I know, but my last name is Soekawa, which is from my husband. So that's just like who I am. That's who I identify with as being a mother and a wife, first and foremost. My husband and I work together. He's the backbone of our brokerage right now. Our son is special needs, meaning that he's on the spectrum, but highly functioning. He's going to do exceptional things in this world. Our middle has dealt with some seizures and things like that. So we've been challenged in health. I'm a breast cancer survivor myself. And so I say that to not as an identity of that, but I say that as I'm thriving in life and I'm understanding that life's going to always throw you things that you won't predict, but you just have learned how to just like navigate it and keep going forward. So that's kind of been my mission in life. I am 48 years old and I was in corporate America for a very long time because I came from an immigrant family that was entrepreneurs and they always dreamed that I would go to college. I was the first to finish college in my family and, do the things like be the doctor, be the lawyer. I'm sure a lot of Indian and Asian families recognize that. Like, why aren't you a doctor or a lawyer? That's pretty much the 2 options we had. And I chose not to go to law school. I chose to go into sales and I was quickly recruited into medical sales. So my background is 15 years of medical pharmaceutical sales. And the irony of it is I ended up in oncology. I ended up at the peak of that sales. And I kind of was dying a slow death in corporate America. And anybody that came from corporate America, and no shade to them because they build a machine, they teach you, they train you. So I took all of the great magic that I learned and met incredible people along the way. So that was just my journey that unfolded. But time came where I just couldn't do it anymore with all the layoffs and all the restructuring. And I rose to my hand during an opportunity to take a package. And if I had known now what I knew then, like if I knew now what I was doing then, I probably would have been like, don't do that. That's a very bad idea. Like sometimes I will tell you, anybody that does business, ignorance is bliss. And anybody that's a successful business owner will tell you, if I had known what it would take to get to me to where I am now, I would have been like, hell no, because it's a lot. It's like it's like the little punching bag. It's like, oh, you got to keep coming back up. I'm literally like, oh, the whole time.
For
You
sure.
got to bounce back up, like the little things,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how my path took. This is my 10th year in the business. And I came into this business at a very precarious time. It was still coming out of the whole crash of 2009 and 10 and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went into this business, I literally had family and friends doing interventions on why would you do that business? Like, that doesn't make sense. You're leaving this incredible opportunity. Because you have to remember, I was making a lot of money. I was a very highly paid worker bee. Like I had 8 weeks paid vacation, 401k match, stock options, company car, company credit card, company everything, company phone. Like I won every trip to Hawaii, to Bahamas, Rolexes, like you name it, I had it. Like, you know, and it really wasn't a reason for me to leave, except I felt suffocated and I felt that I was not growing. And I know now what I didn't know then is that the human spirit and the human, there's a need for humans to grow. There's a need for everybody to continue to grow. If you're not growing and you're standing still, you're technically dying, right? You're not growing. And so I wasn't growing. And I think I little by little, I think I was like shrinking in that role. And I just felt this need to push through. And my husband at the time was just like, go for it. Like, I think you can do this. I know you're not happy. We had very small children, like we didn't have our third at that time, obviously, but my son was like, they were both in grade school. Like we had like a kindergarten. I mean, it's the dumbest thing I could have done. So I'm going to tell anybody, I am not promoting you. Quit your, like, we had no money. Like, when I think about how stupid that was, like, I really, but sometimes you gotta do stupid stuff to make life work, right? And so that was not exactly like the ideal plan, but I did burn the ships. I burned the bridge, whatever you want to call it. I went all in, took a class. I ended up doing 25 deals my first year. And I say that with a cat. I didn't pay a single dime for a lead. I was not on a team. I happened to join a brokerage here that was the #1 brokerage branch of it's like a Berkshire Hathaway, but it's called Long and Foster here. Ugh. That was like swimming with the sharks. And I'm sure you understand that, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I'm going to say this, and I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but I'm in Virginia. So it was like the good old boy network of a bunch of white guys, old white guys. Okay. And me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I do and me. And I was like, look around, who does not belong here. Right?
Exactly.
And I was like, there were some women too, but they would just ignore me. And when I say ignore me, I'm like, go out of their way to purposely pretend I did not exist in the building. Nobody helped me. No one would talk to me. No one would show me how to use anything or do anything. People were kind of mean to me, actually. It was actually really shocking. So after being there for a while, I actually made it my mission that anybody knew that would come in, that I would take them under my wing and help them, because I just thought that was so horrible what I went into. But despite that, I was still Rookie of the Year of the whole region. And I recently just closed a transaction yesterday. This is full circle. I hope this is not scrolling for you.
I love it.
That this gentleman's like, I know who you are. I was like, I don't know who you are. I'm sorry. He's like, yeah, you, he's like, I can't believe like I'm doing a deal with you now. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, we started at the same time. And I thought I was in the running for the Rookie of the Year for the region because he'd won it for the office. So there are a bunch of offices and like lots of people, because Long and Foster is like the biggest in the whole region. And when he told his broker, I actually won it for the region. I went up on stage, and he asked the broker, well, how much did she sell to get that? And I was the one that blew it out of the water for everybody. So I sold the most that's ever been done in all of Long and Foster's history for 1 year. So my very first year in the year, because I got my license at the very end of November. You know, it really doesn't come through. Like I took the test, it takes a while.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't active until January.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I went immediately to a Tom Ferry conference. So really it was a full year. It wasn't like I grandfathered a year. And because some people could say, I'm not going to take my year until the next year. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in a full year, I closed 25 deals.
Wow.
And I had other ones pending. And I closed almost $10 million in volume. That's a lot for my area, because our average sales price at that time was like probably 250, 300.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. So it was a lot of houses like adding up. Right. And so when he heard that, he was like, because I think he sold like, I don't know, 8 houses or something like that. And so I think he was like, I'm going to win. And then when he saw like, he just thought we were neck and neck. But when he realized how far it was, the distance of him winning, like it wasn't going to ever happen. And it made me kind of extra feel more like I made the right choice.
Yeah.
So that just gets you started. But I say that in just because it was a really funny reminder how things come full circle in life. Like I remember in that time, I cried a lot that first year. Um, a lot. I second guessed myself a lot. Because there was nobody helping me at all. I was making mistakes and learning along the way. I was doing all my own admin work because I didn't know any different. I had gotten into coaching early on, thank God, so I at least had some guidance because I wasn't getting it really anywhere else. And it's not their fault. He told me straight up, I don't take new agents, but I wanted to be in the office where all the sharks were
Yeah.
because that's what makes you better,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So like I was in the office with people selling like 250 units.
Wow.
Like, they don't have time for me. You know what I mean? They're like, they don't, it was like whirlwinds of people.
Mm-hmm.
And in looking back, there were things I would have done differently, but I did not take a single day off for 24 months.
Wow.
I canceled vacations to work with clients. I didn't see my kids for 2 years. So there was a price I paid. And I want to say that very clearly, that just because I did that, I can jump up and down and say that's awesome, but there was a price that was paid. Make
Yeah.
sense? So,
No,
and I
absolutely.
want to be very clear about that because I don't think people understand what I was willing to sacrifice to have this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And at that time, it was a must because I couldn't go back to the place I was and admit that I had failed. I
Yeah.
was not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I refused. In my mind, I was like, nope, nope. And so that is probably the biggest lesson I learned is that when you say yes, something is being said no to. Right. And so for me, in hindsight, I wish I had done maybe not sold as much and spent some more time with my kids. That's easy to say hindsight, right? But because I now have one that's
Would you,
graduating.
if you can go back again, sell a little bit less to get time back?
100%. Knowing what I know now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like very serendipitous, this timing that we're talking, because you're seeing a different version of me even than from last week, because I went to a Tony Robbins finance flat trip that was so soul changing in every way possible. Anytime I do something with that organization, I come like another layer of me opens up and I'm like, holy shit. Oh, sorry.
No, I love it.
Complete that out. Okay.
No, it's fine.
Um, but and my husband will tell you that, and anybody like you're seeing me a different version. I've met up with people that I hadn't seen in 2 years or a year or 6 months, and they're like, you're just different. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
so my personal growth journey has been an intentional one. And it's been a beautiful unfolding for myself. And
Yeah.
in looking back, I know I'm exactly where I need to be. I was exactly where I needed to be then. You can't have regret or change. But knowing what I know then, I have a 6-year-old now, you see. And
Mhm.
so I think it's important to be present where your feet are. In this business, you can get caught up in the frenzy very easily, and trade time for money,
Mhm.
right? And so my goal now is to make my money work for me,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
trade time for money. And I really don't care how much I sell, as long as my money's working for me. Who cares,
Yeah.
right?
I do have a question. I didn't want to stop your momentum.
No, you're good. You're good. I can stop any point. Yeah.
No, it's great. I want you to keep going, but it's just this is not about me. But like, there's a lot of things that we have similarities. Where I was in
Yeah.
the corporate world, I was the go-to person, making really good money, and I chose to leave, and everyone was like, "Oh, why would you do that?" So very similar. So I
Yeah.
get it. And burn the boats, not having a backup
Yeah.
plan, and also not want to go back to the situation that you left, right? But I actually want to go back before that. What gave you this? I know what gave me my drive, my hustle. Like you've got this spirit about you that's like, I'm gonna make it no matter what. And so I'm just curious, where did that come from? I feel like it didn't come from the corporate world. I feel like you had it before that.
No, I think I was raised in a very strict immigrant home. Um, my parents didn't have any education,
Mhm.
and they always told me that if you don't work hard and do your best, you basically suck. Like my parents beat me, the whole stuff you're not supposed to do
Yeah,
to raise your
it's
kids.
the
It was ugly.
old
I mean,
school
it's
method.
old school, old generation, old country.
Hmm.
Like you had, like, if it was not an, if I brought an A, why isn't it A plus? If it was an A plus, where's the extra credit? Like
Mm,
it was never enough. And like there's a double-edged sword with achievement. So
mhm,
this is something I learned about myself. So my number one towards value that I would run towards before I made it, I rewrote myself recently, A Date with Destiny. That's a whole nother story.
yeah,
Is that it was achievement. My number one towards value was achievement, and my second one was to be needed.
mm,
Um, and the third one was certainty. And I thought it was certainty first. I was really confused. I didn't realize that, but it made sense when I saw achievement. So everything with me, I measure myself with my achievement. The flip side of the great things are you achieve, you do this, you do that, you get accolades, you make money, you know, you move forward in your career. It's a very easy way to check, oh, good, let me go, let me go, let me go. The negative side to it is that it's never enough. It's never enough. And so people that make achievement their number one value have a very difficult time celebrating because they're always looking for that next high,
mhm.
right? The next achievement. Oh, but I didn't get that. Now I need to go for this one, right?
To my soul right now.
Right. So I made a decision that my number one towards value and rule is love now. And so with love, like, so my new mission, and I rewrote my whole self in the 7 days I was in this Date with Destiny, which is Tony Robbins' like epic. He did I Am Not Your Guru, or that show.
Mhm.
It is a true like unwrapping and breaking open of who you are. I really don't know how else to explain it, in a rewriting of who you want to be and the vision you want to become.
That's
Right. So
amazing.
if you think about it, if in your head you're dead, in your heart you're smart. Like if you lead with your heart, only good things can come from that. When you get in your head, you start overanalyzing, you start negotiating, you start second guessing things. But if you go in from the heart, you really can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And so for me, it became an understanding of like, I now know how to check myself and say, is this something I want to achieve, or is this something that's a tool to help me be able to love more, to give more, to learn, you know, that's kind of, so my number one now is to love. The second's gratitude, to be grateful, to see God's grace every single day around me, every second, right? My children, my life, my health, every opportunity that comes. Talking to you, this opportunity is beautiful. And my third is to grow and learn. And that's just something I have a hunger to learn and grow and to be curious constantly, and to not let that go away. Because I think when you're curious, like I just learned how to watch football. So
Huh.
exciting for me.
I love
You don't
it.
understand. 48 years, I finally understand the game. And I was like, oh my God, it's kind of fun. Now I get it.
Yeah.
And fourth is like connection, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 for me, going away from being needed. And being needed was from a place of significance, right? Oh, I'm helping them because they need me. So you
Mhm.
start finding ways to martyr yourself. And I didn't like that version of myself.
Mm.
And so that's kind of where I've kind of changed in how I handle my life now. I don't know if that's like makes sense.
No, it does, and it's deep, and I love it. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal. So you would say that it's been a journey. Yeah, it's been a journey for you, but like I said, like you said, the root of it all is the way you were raised, I would say, though, right? Your discipline, the consistency of that discipline, and the achievement
Yeah.
behind that too, because you're always like, I need more, I need more, I need more. Okay, what's next,
Well,
right?
because that's how I got my praise. That's how I got my atta girl.
Mm.
Atta girl, you did it. Right.
So
And
I'm gonna go a
I
little deep
got,
here. I'm gonna go a little deep here on the
yeah.
question. How do you differentiate your parenting from how you were parented?
My parenting is completely different than how I was parented.
Okay.
First of all, I'm not the lead parent. My husband is. Second of all, it's by design because he's more patient and chill. And so that's a personality you need. You can't have a reactionary parent, right? I know myself.
Yeah.
Um, my children are such gifts. They're each so individually different and just really good souls. Like God gave us such beautiful lessons in all of them.
Mhm.
And I look at them as borrowed beings from us. I think each of my children were sent to my husband and I to heal ourselves in the wounds that we had, being raised kind of like a do-over. Does that make sense?
It does.
Of like redemption in a lot of ways. Like my husband, we took care of my father-in-law until he passed away. And he never really had that satisfying relationship with his father. And so now, like, to have that, our son is like they're best friends. Like, they're just best friends,
Yeah.
and to have two beautiful daughters that are so different and so complex and so beautiful in different ways, to navigate them and enjoy them and celebrate them. Definitely, like, I don't push school. I don't push, like, my son's not going to go to college. But he has this amazing opportunity to work for Richmond Ford. They're going to pay for him to get an associate's degree and become like a master technician. They're going to pay him to do all
Wow,
this.
that's huge.
And he wants to be a pilot. And like his path is like golden path pilot. Like the gifts that have been given to him has been a lesson for me that God provides, that the universe provides, spirit provides, whatever you believe in, if you trust and just know, like, his journey it's been laid out for him, and then just trusting it.
Yeah.
And my daughter she wants to be an actress. She wants to dance and do all these things. And she probably won't go to school either. And we're like, screw the public school system, because we're the number one school district. We pay all this money and we put her to private school. We put her in Montessori, and she plays with goats and chickens and hangs out and plays in the dirt, and we don't know what she does all day. And I'm like, she's good. So very different than my parents, who we had played piano, and then we had to go to Korean school, and then we had, it's like we had a schedule every day. You got to do your homework, and we had, it was a very tiger mom. And so I went the absolute opposite.
Wow. That's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that, to be honest.
Everyone's surprised.
Yeah. I
think because I don't place my value on them. Like, whereas I think we and our generation were probably the value, like, we were the symbolism of our parents. Like, if your child did well, that was a symbol that I'm a good parent. Like, I don't put that on my children. What I put on my children is that you're kind and that you're respectful, right? And you're not entitled, and you help out because you're part of this family. Those are the things we look for.
Do you ever talk about hard work with your kids?
Yes.
Okay, so you still do. It's still some type of. I mean, I'd assume. I'm just curious because you're leading with it, and I think it's phenomenal. You're leading with the emotions, the feelings. That's really the love you're saying that you have, the kindness and all that good stuff. But I was just curious about the.
It's interesting. My son wanted to work from the age of 14. He begged us to work. He's been working at a car wash every single weekend since he was 14 years old, and all summer long.
Wow.
For like 12-hour days.
Wow.
We didn't ask him to work. And we got him a car for his birthday, and he pays for his gas. He doesn't ever ask us for money. And he wants to take over his car payments when he graduates. Like, he doesn't ask us. And my daughter, she's a little bit more prickly because she's a teenager. She's a little softer. She's a little bit more squishy. But she babysits her sister. She doesn't ask for things. And, we give her, like, we go get nails done together. She's never without, but they're not the kind of kids that are like, I must have this, or, she wanted that stupid Stanley mug, but she used her Christmas money to get it. Cause I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen, but okay. Right. So they've just been really, I think our youngest is going to be the one that gives us a run for our money. She's the one that's like,
yeah.
Maybe I should have this. Like, we just got into American Girl, and any of you have daughters, Jesus Christ, don't go there. Just don't go there.
I have a daughter, a 9-year-old daughter.
Don't go there. Have you gone there?
I have not.
Don't go there.
Why is that?
Dolls are $120 dolls.
Oh.
Don't go there. They got outfits. The coffee shop was like $300. And then I bought her the coffee shop and the doll. I got the half off doll. And then my neighbor said, hey, we have all this American Girl stuff. You want it? I was like, yes. Her kids are grown.
Yeah.
We got horse. We got 4 more dolls. We got all these clothes. She just saved my whole life. That must be thousands and thousands of dollars with American Girl. I'm not telling you. I'm dead serious. Do not take them there.
I love it.
So my other girl was scared of dolls, and we kind of sidetracked. But anyways,
Yeah.
parenting is challenging. I think we don't make it too soft for them, because I think it's so important to I kind of embrace when things don't go their way, because I want them to understand, like, life is not like that. Like, when things are too soft, the whole snowflake thing,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad you didn't get in. I'm glad you didn't get that part. I'm glad, because that's life, and you have to
Yeah.
work hard to earn things.
Yeah, for sure. No, I get that. I think it's good. And I had to ask the question because of the way you're raised, your journey, and then kind of where you're at now. So that's kind of like segue into kind of the real estate piece.
Yeah.
How's the market out there? What's it like in Virginia?
You
I'm
know,
just
we have
curious.
actually been really insulated in a lot of ways. We've had a slowdown just like everybody else. But I think one thing you have to remember in Richmond, we don't see the highs of highs and we don't see the lows of lows.
Mm,
Okay. So it stays a little bit more median. The certain, in neighborhoods and great school districts, that mean the award-winning school districts or the historic areas, and just like everywhere, those neighborhoods are always going to be insulated and always have buyers and sellers.
yeah,
Right. And then it's going to be the outskirts, the more rural things, the things that are a little bit more unique properties that are harder to sell. Those are the ones we're seeing kind of sitting on market. It's
yeah,
like anything else. It's the location, first of all, like we just talked about, the condition, the price.
mm,
And if the price and condition don't match, people are going to be aware of that immediately. So I think the days of where people would just be like, I'll take it because there was nothing, with the rates that there are, it's going to slow people. That's definitely affecting people here for sure. Because you got, like, I call them regular people here, but our rental market is so expensive here that it's still pushing people to have to buy, and we just don't have the rentals here to support it.
I was going to ask
Yeah.
about rentals. How's the short-term rental market versus the long-term there?
So the counties have restricted some of the day-to-day, like the Airbnb abilities here,
Mm,
but we own a midterm with a traveling nurse, and that's been going really well for us. And it's just, I think you're seeing there's a lot of still more gentrifying going on in our city areas and things like that. There still is the opportunity here. Richmond's kind of a pretty big area without traffic. So it's kind of like that sweet spot, 2 hours to DC, 2 hours to the
yeah,
mountains, and 2 hours to the coast,
got it.
right? Or like, that's just kind of how our little area is, the capital of of Virginia. But I think it's definitely an opportunity. VC, I think we're one of the top 10 rental markets in the country based on ROI for cost to purchase,
Mhm.
and then the rent you would get back, plus the
Nice.
favorability of the tenant law, landlord law. And that's the thing with midterm, is you don't have to deal with landlord tenant act, because it's still your house. They're just staying there. So that's why we kind of like it, but it's 3 to 6 months. So you're not like in and out every day with cleaners and all that crap.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
So yeah.
Furnish Finder, I was looking into as well. I have a short-term rental here, and just like over there, they've tightened up the laws and the restrictions and all that stuff for VRBO, short-term rental, the whole game. What about oh my God, I lost my train of thought. I was gonna ask you. Um, man, I completely lost it. That one, you were on a roll there. I didn't want to stop you.
No, I will say this though. I think we're gonna see it really come. I think people are like on the bench waiting. There's
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of so like Capital One's headquarters are in Richmond. So there are some things that make Richmond very favorable to live and very easy to live.
What's the average price point over there?
Probably mid 400s. So you could get in my neighborhood now. Like, I bought my house in the low 400s in 2011.
Okay.
This house now could sell for 700, 3,000
Oh
square
wow.
feet
Oh
in a
wow.
quarter-acre in the #1 school district.
Wow.
So it's not like new construction. You can build a beautiful new construction home. If you want like a 5,000 square foot home, like gorgeous, like showcase home and all that, you're probably looking at 1.8 to $2 million, which is still pretty cheap compared to what you have. Like, I'm talking like 5,000 square feet though.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, and then our schools are ranked in US News World Report. So every single one of our counties have amazing school systems too. So we're starting to see people still want to come here, especially from the north. It's
Mhm.
very easy to settle here. It's very easy to live here. It's very, very family friendly, very much like low key. There's a big artist community, music community, like outdoor stuff. Like we have a little bit of everything. It's, we have our own little wine stuff, not like you, but our own little thing. The
Yeah.
heavy brewery area. It's just, I always tell you, it's just easy to live here. There's no conflict. Like,
How's the weather?
Very nice. We get all 4 seasons.
All 4 seasons, yeah.
I call it fake spring right now. So it's like in the 50s now, and then it'll get cold again. And then it's like, it can't make up its mind here. So we get beautiful falls, hot, sweaty summers.
No.
We get snow. I mean, we get a little bit of everything. So it's not, so you do get that feeling of all 4 seasons here, We have some nice diversity here. Richmond's really grown a lot in that way. When I was growing up, it was just like, I was like the only person, like one Asian. What are you, Chinese? No, I'm Korean. Like, what's that? I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah.
What about, you mentioned your husband earlier, and he's the backbone of the brokerage. What is he? He's an agent, like he's
not an agent. He does director of operations. He handles all my people, the headaches I don't want to deal with. He's like handles the managerial stuff. I'm stuck at that. I'm the artist. I'm still in production. I'm the main producer. I'm still in that question of like, do I blow it up and just be me and my full-time assistant who's fully licensed and just go for it and just, crunch out 100, 150 deals and be done with it? Or do I actually want to continue to try to grow? Because we've had a lot of turnover and a headache. The brokerage is, the whole pain points of that has been a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And I think after being a coach, because I'm a Tom Ferry coach, I thought like, this is a slam dunk, no big deal, right?
Yeah.
No. Let me tell you something. It's a whole nother ball of wax that the apathy of 1099s, it gets old.
Of course.
Right. And then the push and the shove and the pull and wanting it for them, and they can't, and that's not even my place to say. They don't want it. That's their business. Like there's not me to judge them. So I think I'm coming from a place of like hands off now. I have this new quest. I'm starting a YouTube channel. I'm working with a collaborator there to really focus on like the coaching and branding on a different aspect world. And so stay tuned for that. I'll let you know.
Keep me posted. That's awesome.
How that goes. So I have many irons in the buckets, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I love it. I love it. Anything else to potentially add? I mean, no, I don't want to cannibalize your time. I just wanted to get to know you, kind of get some context of what Virginia is like. I mean,
you should come visit. Your 9-year-old's historical. It's like one of the biggest history places ever. It's a
Richmond,
great
Virginia. Absolutely. Definitely thought about it.
Come write it off. Have a meeting. Write the whole trip off, and I'll show you around.
Done and done.
Gardens, and I'll show you Richmond. And
what's the best time of year to come?
I think any time of the year is whatever makes sense. Plane tickets. There's always stuff going on.
For sure.
You can go and do Great Wolf Lodge, which is fun. Busch Gardens, do Williamsburg. I would plan a week, then go up to DC, come back down. Like there's so much fun stuff to do.
That's awesome.
It's like a cool area.
I love it.
I love it. I'm so glad I got to meet you.
I'm going to add that to my to-do list.
You should.
Now.
Well, also you can kind of explore, like, is this a place I want to invest? Is this a place that may make sense for me later?
For sure.
And also East Coast schools later on, if your child does do school, great place to come to school.
I love it.
Wonderful schools. William and Mary, UVA, Virginia Tech, JMU. I went to school in North Carolina. There's a ton in North Carolina. There's just a lot of options on the East Coast that I think sometimes it's easier than the West Coast for school.
Oh, for sure. I love it.
Cost of living. If you want to get out of that crazy, you can come. You'd be like, wow, I want my money to go to a bar.
Trust me, I have a plan for that too. So we can discuss offline. I love it. Now, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. And
well, you have my information, my number. Call me anytime off the, if you just want to catch up, happy to know you. And I'm online at alicia.rba is my Instagram. I post a lot. I do a ton of video. I'm on TikTok. Obviously, I'm doing my YouTube channel soon. I'm starting a whole new one and all that. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch soon, and I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Take care.
You as well. Take care.